Hey everybody.
What's up, gang? Can you hear us? No one's here yet.
Just smiling, get a little closer to the camera.
We're gonna scoot up.
We're just smiling in our beautiful office space today at Jose Lobo's new space in Canan, in Canan de Rivas in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's got a geodesic dome out here, which is going to become a mariposarium, so to speak, for butterflies. He's got a playground. There's going to be a kids' learning space. There's a little museum. This building here this is a yoga studio / event space, and downstairs they're going to have like a little cafe with little food items, lunch things, as well as like some really, really great gelato. So this is the kind of thing you find in like a community like this where we are, people just creating things that kind of wouldn't necessarily match in, New York City, for example. I don't know if you could do something like this in New York City, but nevertheless, the whole community is so excited about it here, and it's probably open up in around 2 or 3 months. But the guy built a geodesic dome himself. Like, who does that? That's amazing. Anyway. So we wanted to talk today about your calling and how identifying and kind of giving yourself to your calling in life, and that's a word that we'll kind of refer to a lot, but it really points to what you feel you're deeply drawn to do, what theme you seem to have been born with, what kind of blueprint or what kind of patterns do you feel most excited to explore and express and create. This is actually the key that kind of unlocks the door out of the traditional sort of mainstream matrix, if you will, of life. And Teresa and I are, in a few weeks, I don't know, we haven't really decided the date.
Soon.
We're going to share, we're going to open a small program for people who want to walk through this journey of exiting the matrix and weave through the course of all of our interviews with so many podcast guests and our own path, and talking to others, coaching others too. We've really seen that there's not a linear, but a clear process to leaving behind the old way of life and entering into the new expansive world that's forming right under our feet. And we call it your own stream because it really ought to reflect you. It shouldn't necessarily be, it shouldn't look like everybody else's. It should really be yours. And it starts with this question of what is my calling?
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about with the matrix? We've been talking a lot about the matrix lately, and I think, there's it's used a lot. And what we're talking about is sort of this mainstream story, the mainstream program that we've all been kind of fed about who we are as limited being, powerless beings in the world that need to slog it away and work hard, often according to someone else's dream and something that doesn't make us happy, to make money, settle down, raise a family, and retire, and then get to live our dreams.
Then you get to do what you want.
And we were in that for a long time. And there's the calling being the key out of this is this nagging excitement, desire, restlessness with that mainstream program, desire to serve that's like inside of you. And usually often, I know for me, like I just had, because of the program, that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be unhappy. Yeah, you have all these dreams, but how are you going to make money? Like, it's so ingrained, this story of like, how are you going to make money? And it's so ingrained that it's like really hard to get out of it. So Matrix is external, but it's really internalized. So the stories that we hear, so it clouds over. The key is really getting out of that, the program that you've now adopted in your head as who you are, and so that's really the journey, is from the inside out. And the calling comes from the inside out. It comes because it's calling you. It's literally calling you. There's a joy and excitement, a yearning to serve that is calling you. And we both had experiences with that, and it really was the key for both of us, I think, to finally unlock. Because I know for me, for many years I knew something wasn't right. Like, I wasn't happy, but I was living what I thought was my calling. I was trying to help young people who were in the justice system, and And I see now my true calling was behind that, to wake people up, to help people wake up and see that they're so much more powerful and infinitely valuable and free and full and able to create their own realities. But I was working within the existing systems, which often are just, there are a lot of good people in those systems that want to make a difference for kids and for other people, but often the system itself is really designed to keep you small, to keep you small and controlled and contained. And even I found myself working on a lot of different things that were just like morphing more aspects of the system. And so that desire, I didn't see it at the time, but that desire to help people wake up to their full power, to express themselves and create their lives, was there all the time. And it finally took some work around that to get me to say, what are the things that are blocking me from fully pursuing the truth of this calling? And that's where the kind of changing my life began.
Yeah, I was just remembering your career in that old world. There's lots of acronyms in that world. Lots of like connection issues.
We'll see. It's a new workspace.
Yeah, it's a new workspace. We had a little blip in the internet there. Anyway, it's a very spiritual search or question. What is my calling? And for me, it really opened more dramatically, because I would often feel, like you said, it was kind of like this nagging kind of like part of me that was just dying to be out there, dying to be expressed. And I would often try to take it and shape it in a way that could really work in the world.
Make it acceptable to others.
Okay, this feels like my calling, all right, but I got to make a lot of money with this, so I'm going to have to contort it into this shape. For years, I was a dating coach, and it really wasn't what I wanted to be doing. But I had been, it's a long story, but I was featured, I was in a book called The Game. I was part of this whole world. It's a whole other story, but it gave me this huge platform from which to do that work. And I did it for a while, and it was exciting and interesting, and it was successful. It was a lot of fun. But then it just sort of like, it lost its luster. And particularly, like, here I am, a married guy, still like, pulling, trying to coach guys on dating advice and stuff, and it just didn't feel right at all. But yet I was like,
And what you did is you actually started to do the work of your actual calling, or want to do that with those guys.
Through the business, which was great. But then they're looking at me like, why are you talking to me about these things? This isn't, I want to know where to go with a girl on a first date, things like that. Anyway. So the spiritual part for me was realizing the relationship between, say, the calling and this kind of visible expression, if you will, of me, and then the vast other dimensions of me, and how it's kind of tracked all the way back to source. We are all connected to that fundamental aspect, that oneness. And it's expressed through these apertures, if you will, these little windows, me, Teresa, you, whomever. Anyway, so realizing that like this calling was really higher self, God, saying, do this. I will be with you. I will support you. I have your back. You're here to do this. This is why you incarnated. Please do it. And then when you start to kind of get interested in that, suddenly you see signs everywhere, like pulling you forward, exciting you, like throwing gasoline on the fire of this calling and this excitement. And it's really, that's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work. And it's really supposed to pull you out of this old way of life. We're here to redesign these structures because they're so flawed. They don't work. We know this. So this is so important. This is what kind of gets you oriented in a new direction in a way, and freed with the kind of energy that can combat the conditioning that's in place in this world, which is very, very strong and very real. So it's getting aligned with that excitement, that calling. We use these words interchangeably. I'm sorry if I'm confusing anybody.
Calling, purpose, mission, meaning
highest
of your life.
Excitement. Like, what is your highest excitement? I love that phrase. What is your highest excitement? Like, not even your excitement, man. Like, what is your highest excitement? Can you get with that? Can you like give yourself to that and know that within that is contained endless help, endless support, everything you need, all the resources, all the money, all the people, all the direction, all of it is contained in that little magical space. And that's what is needed, I think, to really get out of the matrix, exit the matrix. Starts with that, kind of getting in this space. You can feel me, like I'm so excited just talking about it. Like when you get into that space, magic happens, like no doubt about it.
Yeah, I know for me, I felt for so many years, and I'm getting excited just listening to it. Like, I had so much noise in my head that even still now, I would say to Stephen, like, okay, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, but like, I don't know what my calling is. Like, what is it? Like, I don't even know what I'm excited about, because like that might sound ridiculous, or maybe it doesn't to those who are listening, but just to offer some love and sympathy because, and we are in this with you. This is what we're here to do. This is our calling. So, for me, it's been so clouded over by what other people told me to do. Specifically family, but this reinforced by society and like bosses and all these recreations of my father and whatever that I did in my life to like hammer this story and really to experience awakening from that story. That was, I believe now, why I created all those things, to experience the awakening, experience the separation, and then the experience of awakening from that to return to my calling, because just for so long, that's been the theme of my life. Like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. And then this finally, like, it takes some work and support and love to get rid of that mainstream story that you have. And everybody's is a little different, but there's a lot of commonalities, and those are themes we've been expressing in the community, trying to see like what are the mainstream stories we all like have really heard and ingrained that may be blocking us from following our true calling. And in our calling, it's not only our joy and our excitement, it's our great service to the world. Yeah. So what shifted it for me was finally believing, doing enough, like just sitting, getting rid of old inputs, like I just had to get rid of all of my following of the matrix. I used to be so ingrained in the news and used to be so ingrained in like certain voices in my life, and I had to really change that and commit to what I found to be the truth, what resonated, what felt good. And that process, along with meditation and reading and like really developing community that was supportive, I started to feel the difference between the contraction of the story that was not real and the truth. And once I saw that, once I believed that, not only is this about my happiness, it's about my service to the world. And I've always been about service, but like I just never felt like effective in what I was doing for years and years and years, spinning my wheels in the matrix. And so that I felt like no excuse anymore. Like there was no excuse anymore but to follow it. And like we usually know, like I knew what was right in the way of me following that, and it was mostly the job, the career I developed, this commitment to this career. And like I had to just like, and the validation of others, my father who's not even alive anymore, and like all of the people that I worked with and love, because they all have like, there's so many people that I like just love and care for who are doing such good, who are so committed to the work we were doing. This like real like pressure, feeling like I needed to stay doing these things, and just I knew in that moment like it had to go. For me to like really release into this, like I needed to follow that calling, because it's amazing. It's an amazing creation that our greatest joy and excitement and bliss is also our greatest service to the world.
Doesn't that make perfect sense? Jesus, like, wow, that sounds great. Well, why else would we be here, for Christ's sake? Why else would we be alive? I mean, just to slog it out? No way, that's crazy. Come on.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy.
Stop that. One thing you pointed to, and I know we talked about wanting to cover this, is like some sort of foundational things that are really helpful.
If you don't know your calling, like
if you don't know your calling, if you're new to this or you're confused, is to really radically change your inputs. Like, and you can do it in a week, even a few days. Like, stop watching TV, stop watching negative anything. Change your feed. Like, go through your social media feeds and just change everything. Unfollow people that are like negative and whatever, just talking endlessly about politics or whatnot. Just unfollow them.
And I used to feel really like that was irresponsible, like, because one of the mainstream programs is like, you got to watch the news, like to be participating in the world, like, and to be a responsible citizen and whatever. You got to watch the news. But the truth is that like most of it's not real. And if it's like actually happening, like physically, like there's so much more truth behind it that's not covered in the news. So you're not really like, you're only like tuning into the truth by putting that stuff aside.
Yeah, and most of it's just the negative news anyway. It's like, okay, this happened.
It's very selective.
It may
what's
have
covered
happened,
and how it's
also sort of like, do we need to know this? Anyway, we don't want to go down the MSM rabbit hole, but anyway, like change your inputs. Like we'll link below, once we finish this video, I'll link below to our PDF. We put out a book, Exit the Matrix, and in it we list all these great resources to follow, whether you're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are, YouTube channels to follow, just so you can kind of like use that as a resource to remap all of your inputs. Like, and change your food. Teresa talked about a meditation diet, like get out in nature, like walk outside for 15 to 20 minutes a day, like change. If you do all of these things, suddenly you begin to kind of let go of a lot of the negative programming, or at least it becomes more clear to you, and you can see that there's actually something else that's more powerful, more vast, more expansive than that. Changing all of this is a great way to kind of till the soil of looking for your calling, clarifying that. The other thing I wanted to add, this was a big part for me, something I'm still untangling, is the whole worthiness. Like, I think one of the things that happens when you're young and you're kind of growing up in a kind of a mainstream sort of way of life, and by the way, if you're watching this video, say hello. I see people like watching this, but like say hi, whatever. Interact with us. We're like, this is not like a recorded video, so please engage. It'd be great. We'd love to know who's watching, for example. We have no idea. We just see this little weird, looks like the CBS icon. And,
it does look like
and
CBS.
Numbers that are moving as people join or fall off. But anyway, so like worthiness, like once you really see your calling, once I really access it and feel it and just experience this kind of energy release, like I just feel the field of my body, if you will, just light up. It's as if I'm just beaming, radiating light and energy. It just feels so good. Included with that is like the worthiness. This is why I'm here. Once you experience that more and more and more and really begin to understand what this is, it's not just some flight of fancy or wishful thinking or childishness. Stuff. That's a part of the program is don't be like a child. Stop being so childish. Whereas in fact, children are like unprogrammed and very wise, infinitely intuitive and responsive to their instincts and to their theme, like constantly. But once you really see it and feel it, experience that energy, it is a fact that this is obviously why you're here. And with that comes the worthiness that is an invitation to really engage it, create it, put something out there, really let it kind of flow through. Allow it the space to activate through you. And that's the point. So exiting the matrix, maybe it's less catchy and less cool, but really what we're talking about is really emerging fully expressed as you, trusting all these vast infinite resources of the universe and creating something that actually serves others based on what you like, what your excitement is, and maybe some elements to your theme that are compatible with skills that you have. Your unique expression, that's what it is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of limiting beliefs that are conditioned by the matrix, but there are two like really big ones that we've explored with clients. We've gone through over and over and over again and continue to slough off ourselves, which are this entanglement of worthiness with work and with pleasing others, validation of others, and the money thing, the resources thing. How am I going to make money? There's like so much scarcity and limited beliefs pushed on us about that. And then there's like all kinds of other things in the matrix that like reinforce those things and make you feel fearful and small and powerless. And so, a lot of the work is just like, all those steps in the ebook, which is free, by the way, all the steps in our Exit the Matrix ebook are really about like getting, letting go of the mainstream program, distancing yourself, freeing yourself from the mainstream program, which is not true, and finding your true voice, your true self, your true knowing, your true connection, your true calling, your true oneness as source. And that's all you need. And that's the amazing thing, is that in finding that is your inherent worthiness.
Yeah.
Because any of these external things, and trust me, we've tried it all, like it's the font of addiction. It's the font of addiction to drugs and alcohol, to work, to everything else, you know, to food, to relationships, to your body looking a certain way. It's like any external grasping for that worthiness that you were conditioned to have will never work. It will never work. It will work for like a hit for a moment, and then it may stop even working for that, you know? So it's like that knowing, that connection to your calling brings you that internal worthiness. It also brings the abundance and the true knowing that you will always be taken care of, you know, that you will always have what you need. And so it just, that's what this exiting the matrix is about. It's like, it is like disentangling yourself, separating yourself, freeing yourself from this program, and finding the truth that you've had, that's been nagging you, that's there all along, but has been so pushed down by this other program.
And you know you found it when it feels really good, basically. And what we found is that once a person really gets aligned with this calling, and more, just through their day, more and more, this calling is alive in them, that a new vision begins to appear as to what this could generate. What creation could this, through me, create? What appearance could change? What could be created by virtue of giving myself to this? This is what we call revisioning. This is very important. Though there's, in my experience at least, some of you might be a little savvier than me, but what usually happens here is all sorts of things, but what eventually does generate or become created doesn't look like that at all. But that's okay. That's all cool too. That's all kind of part of the design. This initial revisioning is really just a painting painted by higher self just to motivate me to come forward. Like, come on, man, just do it, just do it. And whatever does appear is always better. It always feels so good. It's always so much more exciting and meaningful.
Yeah, we've definitely found revisioning to be an ongoing process, because I think as you're clearing away the program, you're becoming more and more of your true self. So that vision is more aligned. It's more aligned. Like, you could probably do it now, wherever you are with your relationship with the matrix, and kind of have some idea about what all those things want. What are you yearning for? What things do you want to change? What are the pain points? Like, if you didn't believe all this crap of the matrix, if you didn't believe you had to make money and slog it away, if you didn't believe that you had to do something specific in the world to be worthy, you know, if you didn't believe you had to have things or have the validation of others, like there's parts that know already. And then the clearer you get with that truth, the clearer that vision becomes. And it's often like a manifestation in progress, because what you believe becomes your reality. You are the creator of your reality. So as you change, that reality changes, and it just gets more and more aligned, the more you stay on that path and commitment to yourself.
Sounds good, right? So I want to say hi to some people.
I know. Good to see you all here,
for
Dave and
responding.
Chess and Brigitte, Mark. Love you guys.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for being with us. Yeah, so we're kind of moving into the second little phase of this called revisioning. We'll maybe come to that another time. But anyway, so yeah, we'll link below to the book if you want to get it, to just get mainly there's a huge list of people to follow and resources to avail yourself of, which are really, really helpful. We'll do that below. But look for more from us soon about this topic of exiting the matrix. That's our big thing these days. We'll be coming out with an official kind of program, if you will, soon. And there'll be a cozy little group formed around this to go through this process with us. It'll be really, really fun. So anyway, more on that later.
We're excited about that.
Super
That's what we want to be doing right now. We get more and more excited about it every day. So we hope you will join us, and stay tuned.
All right.
All right. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Talk soon.
Sending it to you. Lots of love. Bye-bye.